You had these beings that came here from another space. They were light beings. They created this pragmatic bubble with two magnets, a north and a south magnet, that created an oxygen bubble. This in turn sifted out all of the elements from the primordial waters of space, which is actually Tiamat. Okay, Tiamat is the dark waters that contains melanin. It contains all the periodic table of elements, which creates the ground or the dirt, the earth, as well as the water. Basically, the two magnets actually pulled the melanin out of the water once it sifted everything out. And what you have is the clear water that was left behind that we have in the oceans right now today, which the ancient Sumerians called the Apsu, APSU. And the Apsu is the clear waters that are separated from the melanin-based waters, right? And then you had this mapping, as I spoke of previously, of 196 stars, or basically this construct of polymenos and heptamenos that created the light grid of 196 squares that creates the simulation that kind of mapped out our light bodies, working in tandem with the magnetism that was created with the two magnets creating a magnetic resonance that in turn made all of the elements kind of latch on or attach to our physical light bodies. As the grid was being created in tandem with the magnetic resonance and this vortex that was creating centrifugal force to make this place a magnetic type of environment where matter pretty much took the path of least resistance, but it was also a matter of the light mapping that determined what you got on your body. The animals have a certain light code. The humans, or the first photon light bodies that came here, had a light code, and a part of their light code of the initial people that came here included the melanin as it was separating. So they did the mapping, and some of the melanin was drawn to the body also. Okay, the melanin that came from the dark primordial waters. This is how you got some of the sun's energy that is within some of us. Okay, as well as mushrooms. Okay, there's some mycelium within a certain bloodline, and that is the first initial people that came here have the system mapping of mushrooms. And you have the light mapping of our internal body, like our lungs looking like trees and our kidneys looking like kidney beans, and all of these different light codes that are pretty similar, right? But you have the magnetic resonance joining onto these different parts and creating or shaping out this light being, right? So the initial people who came here initially to create this realm, who a lot of us are descendants are, I know I am a descendant of, mapped out our light bodies. And we also have within our light mapping melanin, okay, which is a part of the dark primordial waters of outer space. And that melanin attached to our magnetic resonance in the beginning, and everyone who is a descendant of us has this skin pigment, right? The light mapping or the simulation of light created magnetic resonance for the melanin that was already in the primordial water. So some of it went to the sun's energy, which was sifted out of the waters, and it created this ball or this bubble that set ablaze because the oxygen within the bubble of the pragmatic bubble created oxygen, which interacted with this melanin ball, which created the sun. It's like a fusion energy. And some of that light mapping for our bodies as the initial people who came here included melanin within the code. It also included mushrooms, or this golden elixir, or this Christ oil, okay, which I have, which makes me one of the original bloodline descendants of the people who came here when they first mapped out this entire system. If you have the genetic code for the mushroom or the DMT within your body, that means that you are an original, or this Christ bloodline, which is alien. And we took some of the original melanin that was separated within the pragmatic bubble, and we have this ability or this connection to the sun's energy, which is why we're able to receive the light from the sun, or we're able to withstand UV radiation. As I say, I don't think it's necessarily withstand it. It's more so absorbing it, because we absorb the sun's energy because we are, or we have the light mapping or the codes for melanin within our light body. That is what it means to be a certain race or a certain pigment, and that's exactly what this is. So melanin came in the initial light mapping of this matrix. So the oxygen in the bubble creating and burning the osmium to create the dome created the womb space, and then the oxygen in the bubble interacting with the melanin that was sifted out by the magnets created the sun, and it set it ablaze. So you have this fire energy. Remember, air is the all-father energy, fire is the all-father energy, earth is the mother energy, and water is the mother energy. So you have these two distinct energies working on a scientific level to create this bubble, but it also made this terrarium space like a womb space, or a magnification of the womb of a woman, okay? And this is all mathematically correlating together and scientifically correlating together, because it shows that everything works together. There's no separation between science, love, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and how everything works in tandem on a spiritual and scientific level.